All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to the P18 podcast. Our guest today is Mrs. Heather Patterson. Heather is our principal here at Perry High School. So, Ms. Patterson, again, thank you for spending some time with us today.
I appreciate it.
So we have some questions for you. So I'm going to rapid fire them your way. So give me as much information about each one as you would like to.
I will.
Okay. Question number one, can you share a little bit about your journey and how you ended up being a part of Perry High School?
I can. I would love to. I was a high school teacher in the district, and I went into administration. And my first administration job, formal administration job, was at Santan Junior High as the dean in the fall of 2007. The first year of Perry, it was the fourth high school that we were bringing on. So I had a connection with Mr. John Wren, which is our old athletic director, and Mr. Dan Serrano, obviously, who's now working at the district office. And they had called, and we had talked about the possibility of me applying and coming to be the first dean ever at Perry High School. Perry opened with Mr. Serrano as the principal, Mr. John Wren as the athletic director, and Mr. Casey Eagleberger. So I was the fourth administrator, and kept Mr. Ames. I was the first person in your current office way back in 2008.
So as the dean, that also makes you the dean of deans at Perry High School.
It might make me the dean of deans. I'm going to have to take my title back from Mr. Bauer.
So Mr. Bauer is not the dean of deans, is what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
He's not.
All right, good to know. All right, question number two for you. What does a typical day look like for you?
Every day is something different. Being a high school principal, it starts very, very early and ends, when kids leave the building at 2:15. And then that's the second part of our day that starts. And that's for myself and all my administrators and teachers and coaches when all the extracurricular activities start on campus. No two days are alike. So it kind of just depends on what's going on and what's going on after school. Great thing about my job is that I'm busy all day long, from meeting, like if I took today, for example, 3 or 4 phone meetings before 7 a.m. with different people in the district. And then I got onto campus and I met with several different students and helped solve some issues that came up. And then here we are doing your interview.
So what part of being a principal would people be surprised to know about?
I think people would be surprised to know about how many kids I meet and speak with during a day, and not because they were sent to my office or there was something that was going on. Just the conversations and the relationships that I have with kids on campus. I think that most people think about the principal's office being tucked somewhere away. And here at Perry High School, and myself and the other administrators really try to be visible and be out with the kids. So I think that that's something that would be surprising for students to know and for parents to know.
All right, so changing gears for just a second, we'll give you a different style of question. If you could have dinner with any sports figure, past or present, who would it be and why?
Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. I watched that show on TNT. And I watch the banter that they have between each other, and I think I would be a great third and I would fit in very well. Charles Barkley was also very prominent with the Suns when I was a senior in high school, and we used to go watch open practices, and this was a while ago, but I used to go watch open practices, and I just watched how he interacted with players, with his teammates, with his coaches.
All right, so now that we talked about Shaq and Charles, Shaq went to LSU, so I'm sure he's been to New Orleans once or twice, and people do tell me that New Orleans is your favorite place. So if you were to pick a restaurant in New Orleans to take Shaq and Charles to dinner, is there one that you would choose?
Absolutely. I would take Shaq and Charles to Commander's Palace. That is my favorite restaurant in New Orleans when I visit. I at least have to go one time every time I go. And I go 2 or 3 times a year. And the reason they would like Commanders, the food is excellent. But you can get steak and potatoes. You can get a lot of food. And I know that because that they like to eat that way because I watch, their show, and then I watch all of the memes with them bantering back and forth. So if you're up and you're there, I will pay for both of you guys to go.
There you go. Now it's on. And again, as we're at the end of the formal questions for today's P18 podcast, so I'll leave it to you to for some last comments. What would you like the people out there watching the P18 podcast to know about Perry High School?
I would like people to know about Perry High School is there is an opportunity for students to engage and find their passion when they step on to our campus. Whether they come as freshmen or they transfer in at a different age, that there is a ton of opportunity for kids. And I want people to know that, and I'm very, very proud of that, because at Perry, we're always looking to add new opportunities for students, and I think that that is one thing that I would like people to know.
Okay. Well, that's it for this time on the P18 podcast. Again, our guest this week, Mrs. Heather Patterson. Thank you again for taking some time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.